friend. It's really an honor to speak with you guys today, because this is what I do on a daily basis. This is what all of the things that are happening today, these are the things that I try to take some lessons from and really adopt into our current business practice. So I'm glad to be here to actually share some of the things that we're doing and some of the things that I'm seeing in the industry. And some of you guys might already be doing this, and that's okay. But hopefully you'll take away from this session some of the things that you could be doing. So thank you. I hope you guys are all excited. And you guys are eating lunch, so it can't hurt, right? You have food and me, so it can't hurt. Okay, thank you. And I have a support system here, so I'm glad to see Kathy Sachs and Anna Bryce here. Anna Bryce is the wife of my former boss, already mentioned, so thank you guys for taking the time. And Anna will know this. This slide is pretty familiar to her, but this is a famous saying from a song by Dylan. And I like to take this because back then times were changing, but it's always been changing, right? So it's not a big surprise to you guys that it's still continuing to evolve. But what's happening today is it's changing dramatically. And what PR pros have to understand is you have to ask yourself, whether you're on the agency side or you're on the corporate side, how am I going to adapt? And what are some of the things that I'm going to learn? How am I going to step outside of my comfort zone to learn about some of these new practices and tools and implement them into my business practice? Good times, right? I started PR 10 years ago. And I joined Lumention in Phoenix. I moved here from San Diego as a PR manager. My role started to slowly change. It went from PR manager, then to corporate communications, then over to corporate communications, who oversaw social media as part of the general practice across all of the company-wide. So good times, I say, when I was managing PR, it was having just plethora of reporters, analysts. I hear back in call. Maybe not back in call, but you had them there. So you had the opportunity to pitch company news, product news, and to be able to get maybe, if you breed 10 reporters and analysts, get maybe 5 coverage out of it, right? So those were the good times. And analysts, you had a ton of different analyst groups, but you started to see consolidation in the past few years, where more and more companies like Gartner, Forrester, and IDC started to eat up a lot of the smaller, more niche analyst firms. So you started to see the change in the analyst landscape as well. So it wasn't just the impact on the media side, it was also on the analyst side. Products rolled. And I wrote this in my abstract because when I was over at Lumention, it was very interesting because whenever we had product launches, it was like the best times. We had PR team, marketing team, your product management, your executives all huddled together trying to figure out how are you going to make this product launch into a big bang, into big news. Another part was looking at product news announcements and saying, what are some of the events that we're going to invest in? And let's align product news announcements into those events, right, to make a big splash. Spend a lot of money. A lot of emphasis around product launches that were tied into a lot of your marketing efforts. The days of the embargo are gone, right? Remember when you would write your release and then you would send it out and then you'd have a target list. You'd call up your PR agency, or if you're on the agency side, you'd get a call. And the PR person goes, I want a list of your top tier target list of reporters. Trade, business, whatever it was. And I remember looking through a spreadsheet that had about 50, 100 lines. And you're like, all right, let's pick and choose which ones we're going to go after. Well, those days are gone. Embargo days are gone. There's no embargo. News travels so fast that there's no need for an embargo. People leak it. There's no need for it. So products roll, good times, things have changed. Then internet happened. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, you don't need education on how the internet impacted the media industry. But the shift that we saw from the rise of the internet was media publications were moving online. And the reason why they were moving online was that's where the readers were going. Readers wanted news in real time. They didn't want to wait next day for the big news. Why? when you could go online and search for that information right away, right? Newsrooms are no longer about PR. It's about demand gen. And this is where the roles have morphed. And this is where the trends are forcing us to blur the lines of marketing and PR, social media. And so when you look at press, before it was about clippings, how many clippings did we get, how many, who wrote about us. It's not about that anymore. It's about, can PR drive business value? Can you demonstrate the business value? Can you support demand gen efforts to drive downloads, webinars, leads, while at the same time you're creating thought leadership and visibility, right? So I love Symantec's room, and I love it because they do this Ponemon data breach survey, and Lumention does too. But they do a great job because they're putting some of the key pieces into their newsroom, because in case reporters want to come or look at you, look up the company, or by chance users might want to look up. Great way to get them to the right areas to drive downloads, leads, demand. This is now where sales, marketing, and PR are all sort of coming together. And that's how we have to shift the mindset. I like Cisco as well. I'm sure if you guys follow Cisco, they're one of the thought leaders in this space. They do a great job. And I say this is, when you look at Cisco, they bring in the Twitter updates. So everywhere you go, now you can look at all of the Twitter stream of what people are saying about your company, or what Cisco Systems is saying about their company, right? So that kind of gives them a top news advantage. You missed our Twitter feed? Okay, there you go. So it's a great way to incorporate, and you can bring it actually across every web page that you've got, your blogs, your press stream. So think about that way in terms of how do you connect the dots across multiple channels. Socializing events, I'm going to just go really quick, is, as I mentioned, when we had our focus event, one of the great things was we created a lot of buzz prior to the event. We usually get about 3,000 people every year. But being able to socialize all of your content from the event is a great way, prior, during, and after. And Manhattan Associates did this great way. This is the coverage that they got, Twitter, and then they had videos that they got. So it was all, again, interconnected. And gamify your marketing, this is probably a new term, but what we did is we ran a contest. We made it simple. Don't make it complicated because people will not join. But we simplified it. But one of the key tricks was not to get Twitter followers to play the game, because you got a lot of trollers, right? They want the prize. We encouraged our customers and our prospects to get onto those communities so they could participate. And that was to ensure that they would follow the conversation to play the game. So look at how you can gamify your marketing and look at creating that buzz. Real-time engagement, we did on-site, PR, had all of the experts lined up. They had all of the customers lined up. We pulled them aside and we started to interview them using a Bloggy, Sony Bloggy, or using Flip Video. We posted them in real time during the event, tweeted it out, asked people's comments, asked people for feedback. We had an astounding results from Twitter and Facebook. We had Hershey, one of our customers, on Facebook, on our Facebook channel, commenting about stuff. This was the first time that JDA had seen socially bringing information in from our customers and users. Adding mouthpieces, I've already discussed that. When you can communicate in real time some of the things that you're doing, even if you're at an event posting these videos, communicate. Send out daily updates so people know where it's going, and they can go on and tweet about it, That's it. Thank you. I hope that was helpful.